Hello, family. Welcome to Akakad, the home of entrepreneurs. Here, we create, help, and aggressively adventure the African space to make change. As you rest your soul, rest your mind to listen to us this very moment, one thing I love you to do: go into your room, close those doors, and have yourself some popcorn, and let's ride. I wish you the best of listening. Thank you. The realities in creating useful things, the realities in recognizing that a particular place is a suitable spot for building the next big thing. The realities involved in extrapolating between life options, the realities, the things we face as individuals, as groups, as great minds, the realities we face, they can be so real that we just sit down, pinpoint those realities. We begin to list out those things that really, in some way, affect our build-up. Probably starting from ground from ground 0 to 1. Well, right now, we consider Africa to be precise. And let's make it global. You consider the world. I think some decades ago, we could assume the world was polarized in power. It was, multipolarized? Sorry, it was unipolarized, whereby the power distribution based on certain factors is distributed to certain regions of the world. But right now, coming down history lane to this present time, the power distribution begins to diverge, begins to separate, begins to miniaturize into fragments, smaller fragments, from the big players now into previously counted as insignificant players are now becoming significant players in terms of power distribution, in terms of control, either using factors of economy, either using factors of innovations, either using factors of development of nation, or whatever we call it. Power distribution has become multipolarized. And what can Africa pick from this? What can somebody in between the lands of Zaire, or somebody at the eastern part of Africa, Morocco, somebody located down South Africa, or somebody located far away, Ethiopia, what can they extrapolate? What can they pick up from this nuggets? What can they see? And what can they do as regards realities of power distribution? In what way can they harness the best that this present season has got for them? You can't just sway off a wave, or you can't just say you want to start out the wave. It's really difficult, but if you can point out a wave that's already existent, and all you do is go with the flow, and probably tweak it a little bit to suit you, you're good, you're great. That's one of the billion advice from entrepreneurs, one of the greatest entrepreneurs I know. You don't have to go set out to create your own wave, except it's very vehemently needed. Now we're talking about the power distribution, and how somebody located in Africa can make use of this opportunity. When you consider Africa as a continent and the concept of power distribution, you see, we could benefit, but the thing is, how do we benefit? The question is, how do we come to play? I overheard someone saying, one of the things make a nation great, one of the things, if you have both, you're like a two-edged sword. But if you have one, you can still be fine, but there's a limit to you being fine, And Africa has one of both. Except of recent time, we begin to try to measure up, begin to climb the ladder faster in innovation and development. But right as we speak, yeah, we're growing pretty much. We can see data of previous years. We could, that's pretty good, but if you count down memory lane, it showed that we're behind. It showed clearly. The labor right here in Africa is cheap. That's a good thing. But the other thing is the knowledge base is poor. How do we increase the knowledge base? How? That's one of the factors that affect power distribution. One of the two factors that affect power distribution. And how can Africa, somebody in the suburbs of Africa, somebody in the ghettos of Africa, look around himself and say, okay, I've got this to solve, I've got this problem around me, and I guess I probably with a few data or with instinct, this could be a notable solution for this. How can we do something to fit into not just be a passerby in the concept of power distribution, but a main player? How can Africans take part in this wonderful moment in history? How can we be a part of such? And there's no better way. There's no better way than taking to heart what's most important, taking to mind what's most important, which is illumination. We've got to consider that there are a lot of factors that affect power distribution, and being illumined or having a sense of knowledge of what it is and how best to tackle such a problem is kind of a way out. It's a way out. It's a way out. We've seen that play in Korea. We've seen that playing in Southeastern Asian countries. We've seen that playing in China. Then Africa can be excluded. It can never be excluded. Africa is a big pie when you talk about resources. But now, how do we create an environment that cushions the exploration of these resources to the best? How do we do that? Well, that's left to each individual in the system. It's best you, as a singular entity, worthy and responsible for yourself, and you take up the burden to change the narrative. Yeah, that's it. Just as crude as it may sound, or as refined as it may appeal, whichever way you see it, that's just it. Being able to pick it out and do something about what you see, being illumined about issues and acting in the right direction. Being able to do this is great, very great for a continent like Africa. We can, from this point on, we can fire ourselves upward. We can take a positive turn in growth, and everyone around the nations of the world is seeking for an environment where growth is their mantra. And we can give that notion, we can as Africans give that notion, we can make that our waking thoughts and sleeping dreams. We can do that. It's not a hard thing. It just takes knowledge. It just takes being able to wrap your head around simple things or complex things and making them the most simple they could be. Illumination is what we need. And this is crucial and one of the principal factors affecting power polarities around the world. Yeah, thank you once again for listening. I do appreciate you for staying this long in hearing our thoughts and our little nuggets about things and how things could be better in Africa. So I do appreciate, thank you for sticking out around with us. Yeah.